This conference will now be recorded.
Now, so as I told you, this application, in that you are going to create a banking application that will allow us to manage our transaction. Okay. Now, you can give any name to your application. You can Google like what name you can give to your application, and accordingly you will be creating the application. Now, I have not decided what name I will be giving, so I will decide, you also decide what name you are going to give to your application. So today we will be discussing uh, what will be the business objective of this application. Okay. Okay. Is my screen visible to you all? Is my screen visible?
Yes, Shweta.
Okay. So what you will be developing a reactive application to support here, or to support our bank transaction. Okay. So we will see what will be the business goal to develop this kind of application. So we must make sure that our application, we must make sure that business transactions are defined by category and within the predefined budget. So business goal will be, mm, okay. Based on the category, there will be transactions will be defined by category and within a budget. Then we must create a centralized debit and credit and allow a simple control over the budget. So you need to have centralized debit and credit and allows simple control over budget. And there will be a simple UI. Okay, the application should have a simple UI to allow the user to quickly navigate and use the application. Okay, there will be a simple UI. Then you will be displaying the records in on dashboard or in dashboard with some graphs or chart, so that you will be knowing how to implement graphs and chart. Already I think when we were learning widget, so that time few of the graph and chart I have shown you, so that we will be see how we will be implementing in our application. So whatever the transaction record must be displayed on a dashboard screen with the chats. Okay, so this can be the business goal of our application. Now let's check out the type of people that will be using the application. Okay, so there will be end user that will use our application. Okay, now you are creating the application. There will need to be some person that should use that application, right? Okay, so there will be a end user that will use the application. So he will have a low to high technology proficiency, like he may or may not be able to understand the technical, he might be from the technical background or may not be a technical background. Okay, he what he want, he needs to manage the transaction of his accounts by checking all his credit and debit per month. Okay, so I will tell you, I will write here, user needs to manage transaction of his account by checking all his credit and debit per month. Okay, then okay, now there might be two sections. One will be user stories and the business stories, so that we will see. Okay, so in the user stories we will see a list of functionalities that will be required by the user to use the app. Okay, so the first will be user need to quickly and easily create credit and debit records associated to his account. Okay, so need to create or edit credits or debits related with their account. Okay, like for example, what will be the monthly range or a monthly rent or EMI, phone bill, electricity bill, or some credit card bill. Okay, then user needs to have the ability to define a yearly budget and to assign the budget for each category. Okay, so this will be one task that you need to implement. Assign uh, and yeah, so you will be assigning the bank transaction to a specific category. Okay, like as I told you, home rent or EMI or electricity bill, mobile bill, and then define a budget per year for each category. So we will decide what categories we want to make. So these are the user stories. The next will be business stories. Okay. Okay. So in the business stories, a developer has to simplify the visualization account with a dashboard screen and some charts. So we need to spend up the progress for adding records for bank transaction. Okay. So the first story will be simplify the visualization, balance account in dashboard, and speed the process. uh, okay. Now we will see what are the entities that needed for our application. So we are not going to create much entities in our application. We will be keeping it as a simple. So for this application, we just need to make three entities. Okay, so one will be, you can give a name as, uh, let's give bank data. This will be the entity name. So this entity will contain debit and credit information made by the user in the bank. Now see, I'm giving you the overview what all attributes will be needed in the entity. You will be telling me what attributes I should add. Okay. So uh, first is the bank data. So as I told you, in this debit and credit information made by the user in their bank. So it will have debit and credit information made by user. Okay. So this will represent that, it will store the transactions for specific dates for credit and debit. So there will be uh, it will have a debit and credit information made by user in their bank account for specific date. mm, Given in category. Okay, this will be a bank data. Then there will be another entity that will be a category. So in the category, you will what you can do. Mm, okay. So in the category, you will be storing the records such as rent, house rent, salary, or some bills that you can add in the category. So this will be your bank data entity. Then you will be making a category entity. In that, it will represent type of bank transaction and group. Okay, this will be in the category, and there will be a budget entity. So budget entity, and it will allows us to estimate an income or expense for a year. So we will be able to assign a budget to a specific category. Okay, like for example, we would have a budget for food, for electricity, for house rent, for mobile bill. We would even have a budget for some other expenses, like some other expenses like sometimes the user will be going to watch a movie, or sometimes the user will be going to a park. So that also expenses we can add. So this will be helpful as you can assign a budget for each category in the application. Okay, so in the budget, it will allow to estimate and expected income and expense for given year, and assign it to specific category. Okay, is this clear? So the three entities were be needed. Now we will be talking about the architecture, how you are going to design it, or what all screens will be there. Now, the application will require a dashboard which will have some charts to help us visualize the data, whether it can have a pie chart, graph chart, column chart. Okay, so it will have the dashboard. Then a dashboard, after that you will be having some other screens. For example, there will be a all transaction screen which will take us to the bank data screen. Okay, dashboard will be one screen. Then the, the second will be transaction screen. So in the transaction, you can have a bank data screen. Then, so here you will be having the bank data screen, and here you will be able to see the individual record. Okay, in this you will see individual individual record of the transaction. Okay, then you will be having budget screen, and you will be having a category screen. Okay, so these all screens you will be having for your application. Is this clear? Yes, is this clear? See, when you will be going on the client side now, these types of stories only you are going to get. Like, client is not going to share you the screens anyhow. You look at the screen and design a. This is and the same way you have to design a screen. Okay, this is how only they will give you. Like, I have just not used a proper format for the documentation, but first you will be getting a documentation, like what all things need to be included in the project. So I'm pasting this in the chat box now. Okay, where it is, huh? Okay, so when you are developing an application, so what will be the first thing that you will be doing? Now you got the requirement. Okay, you got the requirement, what you have to do in the, how you have to, like what things need to be mentioned in the application. Now what will be your next step?
So first create application that is reactive.
Hmm.
So once create the reactive application,
Hmm.
so after that it will create the screens and data
No, wait. Reactive application. Okay. Only after creating the application, you have to create the modules,
modules. Yes, yes,
right? So in the modules,
yes.
how many modules you will be creating now?
Two modules.
Two modules, correct. So one module will be of
Service module,
service module. So what will be there in the service module?
entities,
Huh?
Wrapper actions.
Wrapper action,
Entities
business
and,
logic.
yes, correct. Business logic. So, and after doing the business logic, okay, this is
We
the
need to create the screens in the UI module.
UI model. Okay. You have to
Mm.
give the description. You can give the logo. Okay. Now I don't have any logo. So, but you add a logo, huh? I will add this logo later. I will edit it. But you give the very nice name for your application. Add a logo. Create an app. Then the best practice, what I have told you, like when you are creating the UI model, so you can give a name as a underscore UI. Okay, select a reactive type, create a module. Let's publish it. Okay, so now the next, now you have to create the service model. Okay, service or blank model, whatever you want to do, module type you can select, but make sure that you will be giving a name, prefix as a cs, service, or you can choose a blank. Okay. Okay, so as I told you, the key difference between reactive and the core module is that here in the core module, interface tab will not be populated. See here, interface tab we have the main flows, then common layout, but this will be not populated in the core service module. Okay, now to create the entity, we have to navigate to the data tab, right? Now, the first entity I told you that we want to create is this one, bank data, right? Wait,
Bank data.
huh, it is bank data. But what if user, or what if the client is giving you already the ready-made, client will have some data, okay, bank related data. So for that we have an option, that is what we can do, right click, import new entities from excel. Okay, this also you can do, import new entities from excel. So rather than creating entity its attribute, okay, like right click, create an entity, then create an attribute, you can directly import the data and you will be getting the entity in your data tab. Okay, now tell me what all attributes will be needed in your entity bank. So let's see that first. Okay, we will be importing the data with the excel. Okay, you can prepare your own excel sheet and you can fill the information. So
Both
bank data,
and names also, data also filled, ma'am.
what?
Yeah, I'm asking if you have I have an Excel sheet. That Excel sheet having bank user data, user profile data.
User
It's
profile
a
data,
head.
no. User, not user profile data, bank data, like what all,
Okay, bank.
based on the attributes. Okay, like suppose your bank data is a entity, and that entity is having id, description, credit, debit, date, category. Okay, so that
Okay,
information it should be filled. Now see, for the bank moment, what I told, sorry, bank data, what I told you, that it will have all the credit and debit made by the user in their bank account for a specific date, okay, for a given, in a given category. So what we will have, the ID, it will be auto generated, then description, then there will be credit information, debit information, then there will be a date, and I told you for a category, given category. So there will be a category, but this category will come from category table. So here you have to give the entity identifier. Okay, so I can give here category and user. So user, you did not require to create the entity for user. You know that OutSystem already provide you the user database, which is under system folder. Okay, so directly here, this user, its user identifier will come from this table. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, Shweta.
Now, uh, okay, so now in the bank data, I gave a ID and description. Description will be what, like where the user has spent the amount. Let's say user has transferred the rent to the owner. Okay, so user has transferred the rent to the owner, right? So it means it is a debited from the user account. Okay, so the debited amount, it will be go in the debit. Okay, then user has received a salary for the month of December, so it will be in the credit. Then user has paid a mobile bill, so paid a mobile bill, that will be also in debit. Okay, and
Shweta,
huh?
screen was not visible.
Oh, sorry. Is it visible now?
Yes.
So now description, data type will be text. Tell me what will be the data type for credit. It is a amount, huh? Like salary, credited
Currency.
currency.
Integer.
Huh? You can give currency integer decimal. Okay, you can give any, but mostly we will give a currency. Now date, we have a date data type. Now category, what will be the data type for category?
Text.
Category identifier.
Yes, category identifier, because it is coming from category table. And for user,
User
for user
identifier.
User identifier.
Identity.
user identifier, correct. Okay, so this will be attributes for your bank data. In the description, let's say for example one record I am showing you. Okay, ID is one. Then let's say credit, debit, uh, date. Okay, so credit, or wait, description is pending, no? Description. So what we'll have, received December salary. Okay, so this December salary user has received. So where the amount should come? User has, in user data, bank data, user has received a salary, right? So it will come in the credit now.
Credit.
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 Let's say 1200. So debit will become, okay, and on what date? Let's say 30, 12. Okay, this is the salary. Then second record, house rent. Now user has given the house rent, right? So rent will be debited, right? There will be no house rent. User is not crediting. User is giving to the owner of the house. Okay, so here will
Debit.
come house rent, debit in the debit, and in the credit, uh, sorry, in the date, what date we can give? Let's say 5/1. Okay, so this will be some record for the bank data. Now the next entity will be category. So for category, uh, ID and name of the category. Okay, and budget. Budget will have, it will have ID, year of the budget, then total, some total amount, how many it is uh, available. Then budget will be based on the category, like what is the budget for house rent, yearly budget for house rent, yearly budget for mobile phone, yearly budget for other expenses, and user ID. Okay, so this will be your entities. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what you do, I have given you the requirement, business requirement. What all things you have to include in the application. I have given you the entities. Now think on it, how, what all categories you needed, how you will be defining the budget, and what all data you will be adding in the bank data. Okay, so you just you work on it today, and then these things we will be implementing tomorrow in tomorrow's session.